Going on. I know many of you are freshmen who are getting into your first time of being in college, being on your own, managing your own schedule, all these things. I'm very grateful that you're here. I'm very grateful that you've given me your best all semester. Guys, what I would like to do, though, is to start off today by kind of wandering the room for a moment to ask if you can give a piece of wisdom, something that you know now that you did not know at the beginning of the semester. So we're going to go around the room. I'd like everybody to answer that question. What is something that you know now that you did not know at the beginning of the semester? I'll start. Sometimes, I have learned from my doctoral studies that sometimes there is such a thing as too many citations. I got into trouble for having too many citations on a paper. That was very interesting. What's something that you know now that you did not know at the beginning of the semester? It doesn't have to be about class, it could be about life. What's something you've learned in the last 4 months? Yes?
5 to 8 page papers really with the
Yeah, tell me more about that. How do you get past the initial shock of the 5 to 8 page paper?
Well, I mean, like in high school, 5 pages is a lot for me. But then we started writing like 2-page papers all the time, and it's not like that kind of, you get used to that. Whereas 5 pages really just isn't that much more.
5-page papers, just 2.5-page papers, right? Excellent. Who else has learned something this semester? I'm going to be randomly calling on folks today. What's something you learned this semester? Anytime we get a Wayne Gretzky, Michael Scott quote, it's always awesome. So very good. Never ever give up. Let's move back here. What's something that somebody over here has learned this semester? What's something you know now that you did not know at the beginning of the semester? I know it's going to be something. What's something you know now that you did not know at the beginning of the semester?
More English.
That's great. That's a wonderful thing. What's something you know now that you did not know at the beginning of the semester? About anything? It could be illegal. They eat children. Yeah, it's terrible. Don't get anybody a Cabbage Patch Kid for Christmas. Tough crowd today, guys. Guys, if you do at some point today want to explain something that you know now that you did not know at the beginning of the semester, it's an open forum today. We're going to be moving quickly, guys, because we have our last chances to get through some material. We're going to be covering chapter 13 today on marketing. I anticipate we're going to get about 3/4 of the way through it. How many of you are marketing majors, by the way? Awesome. Guys, what we're going to be covering next is accounting. And this is not an accounting class. We're going to be talking more about what accounting in the big picture is all about. That means, guys, that your final is going to be on a total of 2 chapters. Not too bad, right? Our last day of class is Friday. I'll be sending out a study sheet after class. And our final exam, actually, our final exam is 3 chapters. Sorry, I forgot about chapter 11. But it's still a standard test. So it's going to be on HR, marketing, and accounting. And we get it out of the way the first day of finals on Monday at 8 a.m. Guys, a couple of you, by the way, did not complete your chapter 7 and 8 online quiz. Please get that done. It's overdue as of last week. I do not want to give people zeros on that. We're going to start off, though, with a little bit of current events before we get in, because we're talking about marketing. And, of course, one of the biggest shopping days of the year just transpired. We're in the midst, by the way, of also one of the biggest shopping days of the year. What is today? Today's Cyber Monday. Yes, it is. So we're going to be watching this brief clip about... Did anybody score a good deal? What did you guys get? Come on, share. What did you get for Black Friday? What did you score? What did you got a good deal on that hat? It's a nice hat. What did you score? Nice. Who else got a good deal on Black Friday? Well, guys, here's my question for everybody. The prediction is we're going to have $7 billion by the time the accounting is all done for Black Friday. And there is a lot of questions, is Cyber Monday going to be bigger or not? What are your predictions? How many of you feel that Cyber Monday is going to be bigger than Black Friday? I am with you guys. I think it's going to be huge. You guys remember last year, I mentioned this in class, out of every $10 spent on the internet in the United States in 2018, how many of those dollars went to Amazon? Yeah, about $4.50. I think we're going to see that amount go higher this year. Are some things changing at Amazon, though? Has anybody been keeping track of this? Does Amazon have a big relationship with a certain athletic brand that's in question? You guys haven't heard about this. Nike and Amazon are not getting along. So what is Nike going to try to do if their relationship with Amazon doesn't work out? Any ideas? Who are they going to go to? Oh, help me out, guys. Come on. Who are they going to go to? Where else would they sell their stuff online? Please say something, guys. Where else are they going to go? Raise your hand if you've been to Nike.com. Yeah, that's exactly what they want, guys. They want you to go to their website. They want to get all the profit for themselves. Why pay the middleman if you can get that money in your own pocket? Amazon's had a stranglehold for a lot of years. But we're seeing a lot of companies who are saying now, we're going to make products you can only get directly from us. How many of you have shopped on Nike.com in the last month? Check it out. When you see the way that they're upping what is capable and what they're selling and the customizable nature of the product, they are ready to compete with Amazon. Mark my words. And a lot of other companies are saying the same thing. Amazon's not always the cheapest place to buy things. But what we're going to be talking about today, guys, is hearts and minds. How do we get positioned to get people to want to buy our stuff? It's all about marketing. Guys, we're going to be talking about the 4 P's of marketing. We're going to be talking about what marketing inherently is, how you become successful at it, and some of the other aspects of it between business to business and business to consumer. What a lot of people don't realize is that companies don't just market to consumers, they market to other companies as well. The 4 P's of marketing is something, when you walk out of this class, how many of you have had Dr. Fry's marketing class already? If you have not, you will. Marketing 101, you'll spend an entire semester really fleshing this stuff out and how marketing research actually works. Here's a question for you guys, and I need to hear your voices today so we can move quickly. I need you to speak. Guys, why do companies know so much more about people in 2019 than they did in 2009? Yes, Jackson.
Information on the internet from private information.
Exactly right. How do we leave trails? This side of the room, Gabby, how do we leave trails online? Do you log on to a website once in a while? Yeah, Amazon.com tracks every place you go when you're logged on. How many of you, by show of hands, have social media of any description? It's also tracking you wherever you go. How many of you have a smart television? Okay, if you have a Roku, do you know what Roku's primary business model is? It's not just selling you content and devices. It's selling your information to third parties who will know how to position ads in the free stuff you watch on a Roku device. That's what modern marketing is all about. There's never been a scenario where companies have known more about you than they do in 2019. And it's getting bigger, not smaller. So guys, will somebody tell me, I know we just got done with Black Friday, and I really want you guys to be a part of the conversation today. Will somebody tell me about the last time they bought something that cost $10 or more and how they bought it? When's the last time you spent more than $10 on an item? Yes?
I was at TJ Maxx and they had this like Under Armour jacket that was $150 for like $70.
TJ Maxx, if you're there at the right time, there's some killer deals. So it was a spontaneous buy. Yeah. Very good. So how did you know you wanted an Under Armour jacket? Are you a fan of that brand?
Yeah, I like Under Armour, but I just saw it. I wasn't there for it. I just saw it and it was a good deal.
Spontaneous purchase. Somebody in this side of the room, last time you bought something over $10. Tell me, because I know you bought something more than $10. What was it? How did you find out? Yes. Pizza surely does count. Where'd you get pizza? Worcester. I'm not. Is this a local kind of place? Okay. So how did you order it? On telephone, online? How did you order it? Yeah, so it's very traditional. And you picked it what? Yeah, you like that brand. Guys, anytime we position our products in somebody's mind, marketing plays a role in that. Whether it was marketing with this local quality pizza or marketing TJ Maxx as a brand itself. We have a place where we can get low cost, high quality stuff. When I put the Nike swoosh up on the screen, what comes to your mind? Tell me some adjectives that come to your mind. Yes?
Sneakers.
Sneakers, for sure. They're like synonymous with sneakers, for sure. What else comes to mind? Yes? Yeah, they are. Depending on what you're buying when you buy them, these can be very pricey shoes. What else comes to mind? Yes? Athletic. I mean, when you think about their endorsers, these are all world-class athletes who promote Nike products. What about the products themselves? What comes to mind about them? If you're a Nike fan, I'm sure certain words come to mind. How do you feel about Nikes? Do you wear Nike? No. What comes to mind whenever you see the Nike swoosh? What do you think about Nike sneakers? Because you're loyal to that brand, because it's high quality, high performance stuff. I'm a Nike fan too. 100% of the shoes that I wear when I'm wearing sneakers are Nikes because I like the way they fit. They're high quality. What about when you see the golden arches? What comes to mind? Positive or negative? I see you laughing. What are you thinking?
Mainly negative for me.
For sure. And that's tell me some of the negative connotations it has to.
Well, on like the chicken with the like slime and stuff, like how chicken nuggets are made and stuff, and then kind of like the service, I don't like McDonald's service at all.
So it's synonymous with bad service, cheap food, and grease. Does anybody else have a different reaction to this logo? I have a different reaction because I'm an older generation. First thing I think of when I see McDonald's, I think of breakfast. Like, there's nothing I like better in the morning than an Egg McMuffin or a couple of breakfast burritos. So I have a different mindset about that. Now here's my question. If we've got the younger generation, and by show of hands, when you guys see this logo, how many of you immediately think something unhealthy? By show of hands. Does McDonald's have a challenge? Yeah. Once my generation starts dropping dead of heart disease because we've been living on McDonald's our whole lives, they've got to sell to somebody. So they're going to have to rebrand themselves if they want to appeal to you guys. That, again, is why branding is important. Let's do another one or two of these. Uber. How many of you have ever used an Uber? So when you see the symbol, what comes to mind about Uber? What is your reaction to Uber? Yes?
A little more sketchy now after the news, some of the news that we've been hearing about it.
You know what? I agree with you. Because years ago, before I used my first Uber ride, when I saw their logo, it's like, wow, this seems very high tech. It's very minimal. This looks like a company that I would like to know more about. Wow, their technology is impressive. Then I had a couple sketchy Uber rides, and it's like, wow, I have a different opinion of this company now. And sometimes they don't appear to be as high quality as maybe I originally thought. We'll see how many of you have a reaction. When you see this blue oval, what comes to mind? What's the very first thing that comes to mind when you see a Ford logo? What do you think? What comes to your mind? Yes? What kind of car do you? Okay, so you have a positive relationship with your car? Yeah, so you have positive vibes. What's the number one thing in the United States that's associated with this logo? It's the biggest selling vehicle in the United States. It's a truck. Ford is synonymous with the F-150. So it's very much a truck brand. When you see this logo, what comes to mind when you see the St. Francis logo? What are your associations with this logo, positive or negative? Or both? What comes to mind? Sir? I'm sorry? Yeah, right outside, just in time for the holidays. And people joke about it, but you know what our slogan used to be? It's just different up here. That used to be our slogan, and it was pretty dead on, actually. What else comes to mind when you guys see the St. Francis logo? Positive or negative? What comes to your mind? You guys are all wearing St. Francis gear, so what comes to your mind? Tian, what do you think? What comes to your mind when you see this logo?
Expensive.
It is expensive. No two ways about that. I can understand your reaction. What comes to your mind when you see this logo? That's a good thing to think about. Does anybody else have an affinity to this logo? Does anybody have a positive feeling with this logo? Yes, Jackson, tell me about it.
I like the appearance for it. I don't know.
You know, and it's funny when you think about family, for example. Family has positives and negatives. Nobody's family is perfect, and no institution is perfect. But when I see this logo, I think of family. I think about the relationships I've forged with fellow faculty members, staff, and students, and I get a very warm, fuzzy feeling about it. Our culture is very informal. We are a culture I like to think that embraces people of all abilities, and that's how we market ourselves, guys. So marketing is talking about communicating to the world who you are as a company. It doesn't matter if you're a for-profit company. It doesn't matter if you're a non-profit company. It means how do we position ourselves, who we are, what we're about, and why you should care about us to society at large. It's a big deal these days because we're so constantly connected to everything, guys. Anytime we go anywhere and use our smartphones, we're leaving a trail for marketers to get to know us better. We have so little control of our information, and marketers have so much. There were 4 eras in marketing, guys. We started off, we have what we refer to as the production era. Then we got into the selling era, the marketing concept era, and the customer relationship era where we are right now. We're going to talk about what those eras were. We start off in the production era. We're talking literally right around 1850 or so this started. What was happening in the United States in the 1850s? Anybody have any idea? We were going through a transition in this country. What was happening? All that history. Yes?
Industrial Revolution.
You got it. People were leaving farmland and moving to the cities to make stuff. Guys, this whole area, in case you hadn't noticed, there's a lot of farms up here. This is the heart of agricultural Pennsylvania. People were going to Pittsburgh, and Philadelphia, and Baltimore to work in factories. Then we got into the selling era, and we'll talk about when this happened, right around the 1940s. Then we get into marketing concept in the 60s, and now we are in the customer relationship era. We're going to talk about how these work and why this stuff was important. In the production era, when we started off, when factories started making goods and services, it meant we could sell anything because people had a need. There was not a ready supply of many things, and if you could put it out, somebody would buy it. How many of you have ever heard of the Sears catalog? Yeah, why was that so important, Julie? Do you know any of the story about it?
Well, I knew it started with like the selling of like little watches for trains, but then it turned into like the universal way that people could just order things from a catalog. And Sears was like the first major brick and mortar company.
That's a fantastic summary. Guys, in the old days in the 1800s, if you wanted something, you go to your local supply store, you go to your general store, and hope they could order it. You hope you could get in, you could come in on a train or a horse-drawn carriage, whatever it was, maybe even the postal service. But it would take forever to get there. Sears came out with a catalog. It was literally a paper catalog that sold everything from guns to siding for your house, and you could buy it and have it shipped to you. It was really the first online, in parentheses and quotes, company ever. But this production era meant if you could make it, you could sell it. Then we get into the selling era, which started largely after World War II. Guys, pretty much every developed country in the world was bombed into non-existence by the end of World War II, except for the United States. We became a major industrial powerhouse because we were fortunate enough not to sustain a lot of damage. That began the selling era because you had multiple people making products at a very competitive level. So the production era, you make it, they'll buy it. The selling era means you've got to sell to people. If you get the stereotype of the pushy salesman, that's where it comes from. In the production era, Henry Ford made the first mass production automobile. He very famously said, you can have it in any color you like, so long as it's black. What did he mean by that statement? I think it's a great statement. Trevor, what does he mean by this statement? Yeah, exactly right. He's kind of being a little bit of an a-hole here by basically saying, if you want my car, take it or leave it. Because he could. Guys, here's the trick. The Model T, by the way, does anybody know how many miles to the gallon the Model T got? Yes? No, it was actually pretty good. It was 22, right around 22 miles to the gallon. In the United States, in 2019, if you took every car sold in America and averaged the fuel economy, you know what it comes out to? About 22 miles per gallon. So in over 100 years of the automobile, we really have not, on average, improved our fuel economy since the first Model T. That's something we got to work on, for sure. But in the selling era, I mean, if you want to know what happens in the selling era, it means that we've got 6 companies now making refrigerators. We've got tons of companies making cars. And the lead up to World War II and the aftermath of World War II, the selling era really took off because people were pushing product. And then we get into the marketing concept era. I know this is kind of a stretch. Have any of you ever seen the TV show Mad Men? If you haven't, what it's about the idea of coming up with marketing campaigns. Things that really stick with people. Clever marketing. And marketing concept, that era came from basically we would have a customer orientation and a service orientation. And service orientation meant, and write this down, guys. Seriously, write this down. A service orientation means that everybody in your company is committed to customer satisfaction. It sounds counterintuitive. You think that would be customer orientation. That is a service orientation. and we also wanted to make a profit at the same time. What we were doing, we're coming up with high concept marketing. For example, if you get into Volkswagen, Volkswagen got big inroads in the United States in the 1960s, not just because they made very good fuel-efficient cars, but also because they marketed them in a very clever way. We started getting into cigarette ads. Who was the very famous cowboy spokesperson for Marlboro? Remember the name of this guy? If you've ever seen him, he's called the Marlboro Man. And they positioned it that if you smoke Marlboro cigarettes, you're like a cowboy, like John Wayne. That's the marketing concept era, guys. We're making brands associated with ideas. And now, here we are in 2019. We're into the customer relationship era. Guys, companies want to have a relationship with you. What do you need if you want to buy a pair of Nikes on Nike.com? Besides a credit card, what do you need? It's free. I'll give you that hint. What do you need on Nike.com to buy a pair of Nikes? Yes, you need an account. They want to get to know you. They want to see what shoes you've been looking at. They want to have a relationship with you. How many of you, by show of hands, have an Amazon Prime account? Every day you go on Amazon and you log in, they've got recommendations for you. Has anybody here ever bought something based on a recommendation Amazon has made for them? I have. I'll admit it. They know me really well. So that's customer relationship, and it's what we refer to nowadays as customer relationship management. What that means is a company has a way to get to know you. They can see your browsing habits. They can see how long did you spend on this website. Here's where Amazon, by the way, has a really particularly unique advantage. Amazon obviously sells stuff, but Amazon does something else that's pretty interesting too these days. They stream video and TV shows. Does Jeff Bezos somewhere have a record of everything I've ever watched when I've been logged in? Sure. Oh wow, Tonkin watches a lot of sci-fi. Tonkin watches a lot of Batman stuff. He also watches a lot of these things, those things, and that thing. Meaning, products that would appeal to people who like these things are the things we're going to push toward him. It's the idea that companies know us better than they ever have. So in terms of the way it works these days, guys, we want our interactions to be simple. We want them to be personalized. We want companies to know us, but not too much. We want them to be able to interact with us on our terms when we want to interact with them. Has anybody here ever lodged a complaint against a company on social media? Have you ever complained about something via Twitter, Facebook? If you don't mind me asking, what was your scenario?
It was like at Applebee's, and I had like moldy food. Not really moldy, but it was like brown broccoli. So I posted on Twitter, and then they asked me for my address, and then sent me like $30 worth of like $10 vouchers.
Did that make it up to you?
Yeah, I go there still. So.
Yeah. See, what a wonderful thing to do. By the way, guys, if you had to compare losing a customer, or let me rephrase it, if you had to compare the cost of keeping an existing customer versus gaining a new customer, how much more expensive is it to get a new customer than to keep your existing customer? Any guesses? It's a multiplier. It's 5 times as expensive to get a new customer to replace somebody you lost. So $30 to keep a loyal customer in the long course of things isn't a lot of money. And they kept you, right? How long ago was that, by the way?
Probably like just a couple years ago. But like I'll still go out to like half price after.
The very fact that we're talking a couple of years and you're still going there means they did the right thing by you. So that's why this stuff is so important, guys. And again, I predated my own slide here, but we want to keep our customers. We want to build trust with them. If you mess up, let's admit it. Let's admit it that we gave you moldy rice, and let's make it right. The biggest thing I do not understand about companies, I don't understand companies who get upset when their customers complain. I think your customers complaining is the best thing they can possibly do for you. Why am I saying this? Yes?
You know what's wrong.
They're telling you what to fix. They're saying, these are your problems. This is how you can make things I'll want, and I'll buy more from you. If you are going to make promises, deliver on them, and then go above and beyond. Appreciation is good. Even an email to be able to tell somebody you're happy that they shop with you is a good thing. We're moving very good today, guys. We're moving at a good clip. And we're going to stop for 1 second before we get into nonprofit marketing so I can take our first question or comment of the day. I would like a question or comment from each side of the room, please. Sir.
How was your Thanksgiving?
My Thanksgiving was busy but really, really good. How was yours?
Very good.
Yeah. What was your favorite part about the break?
I got to see my cousin and his wife. They came over. And just hanging out with the family.
Fantastic. I think my favorite part of the break yesterday was my wedding anniversary, 7 years as of yesterday. I did not forget. I got her flowers. They were delivered to her office, and all the husbands in the office hate me now. I've blown the curve. So mission accomplished. Over here, guys, I need a question or a comment. What would you like to ask or say? It can even be about what you want for Christmas. I got an in with Santa Claus, aka Randy Fry. I'll see if I can deliver. What would you like to ask or say today, guys? Seriously, Randy Fry, at some point, Dr. Fry will appear in the building as Santa Claus. It's unlike anything you've ever seen. Brace yourself. So, but what question would you like to ask today, guys? I need something. Yes. My favorite food in Thanksgiving? My brother-in-law is an incredible cook. He decided turkey wasn't enough, so he got out the smoker and smoked the ham. Wow, that was amazing. Smoked really good ham. How about you? What was your favorite thing on Thanksgiving to eat? That's like everybody's comfort food. I love it. So, guys, we're going to get back in. We're going to be continuing our rapid pace today. Guys, in terms of where we're at with nonprofit marketing, even if you're given to a charity, and this is, by the way, this is like the most important time of the year for a lot of charities, because people get to the end of the year. Why do we give at Christmas, guys? Yeah, it's a spirit of giving, right? It's something that feels good. Is there another reason why people give at Christmas time? It's close to something else for any of you accounting guys. What is it?
Taxes.
You got it. We're getting to the end of the year. We want to make sure we get some stuff we can itemize by the end of the year. Made some good money, so I'm going to write some of it off. So this is a big time of the year. If you're into nonprofits, though, the things you're trying to do, you're trying to either get funding or resources. You're trying to get new people involved. You're not necessarily selling a product. You might be trying to pull revenue into your company in the form of donations. So it's a whole different thing. In terms of marketing strategies for nonprofits, where Nike, as a for-profit, pulls on our strings that say, hey, performance, athleticism, high quality. The American Cancer Society may pull on the heartstrings of, you may know somebody who was affected by cancer. How many of you have ever seen the dog commercials with Sarah McLachlan singing? It's for the ASPCA. Are those not hard commercials to watch? But show of hands, how many of you are dog people? How many people love dogs? I can't watch those commercials. It's like, here's my bank account. Have it all. Save all these dogs. But that's effective marketing. And so if you have people who are involved in nonprofit marketing, they're selling a cause, they're selling an idea. This is where it gets real and gets really important, especially for my marketing folks in here. These are the 4 P's of marketing. If you remember 4 things for this entire chapter, make sure they are these 4 P's. The product itself is what we're promoting. Price. How are we pricing this product? Are we pricing it high or low? How are we placing the product, and how are we promoting the product? All of this is in our marketing mix. We're going to cover these one at a time. So the product is very simple. It's the product or service. What are we actually selling? If we're Nike, we are actually selling products. We're selling sneakers. We're selling performance athletic gear. If we're Ford, we're selling F-150s. If we are Amazon, we're selling convenient service to anything you want. Price means, are you pricing your product high or low? For example, if you're BMW, you are not competing on price. You make one of the finest automobiles and line of automobiles in the world, and people are not going to typically haggle all that much because they want what you have to sell. If you're Chevrolet or Hyundai, you're going to haggle because they are positioned differently. It doesn't mean they're not quality brands. It means they have a different method of competing. Placement means, for example, who's ever, this is a terrible example because I'm talking to all these underage people in here. Have you ever heard the expression, oh, that's some top shelf booze? Raise your hand if you've heard that expression. What does it mean, guys? Yes?
Like, they put it on the top shelf so you don't buy it, or like you don't see it.
Yeah, it's so you do see it. It's like every instructor, the most wonderful time of the year, Christmas time, when everybody's gone home, we make our first trip to the liquor store. We walk in, and there it is, shining in this golden basking glow, the top shelf whiskeys, the Jack Daniels and the Jim Beams, maybe even the Maker's Marks. And then you get down to the Canadian Club, and you notice some of the bottles are no longer glass, they're plastic. And then you get down to the brands you've never heard of that were probably made in somebody's bathtub. And those are the ones, wow, you get a gallon of that for $4? Yes, sign me up. And that is positioning. That is positioning. Am I wrong? That's exactly why we position things that way. Notice when you go into a store, if you're getting a name brand cereal or if you're getting the bagged multi-meal stuff, there's a reason that stuff's on the bottom shelf. Not saying it's not good cereal, it's not name brand, and those companies pay for that space to be at eye level so you don't have to stoop to pick it up. That is not accidental, it's absolutely intentional. And in terms of promotion, how are we promoting our product? If we are a brand like a department store like Kohl's, we may have our own store brands that we're going to promote and we're going to sell on the cheap. If you get coupons in your inbox or in the mail or see promotions, you will often see that certain brands are excluded from sales. Why is that? Why do Nike and Levi's why do they not want their products to go on sale? If you're Nike, Levi, if you're Aeropostale, why do you not want your brands to go on sale?
I think it's the people that still buy it anyway.
Exactly right. It cheapens your brand. If you're Nike, you're basically saying you're going to pay what these shoes cost when they're new because that's what they cost. And that's position. So again, we talked about what a product is. A product or service is what we're selling. You might test market your product to determine if it's going to sell or not. And a brand name is something we associate with a product. Nike is a brand name. Amazon is a brand name. If you pick a brand that you like, they have a brand name that elicits certain feelings, like we talked about before. Now, in terms of determining the price we're selling a product, going back to the 4 Ps, there's a lot of things that can play into that. What are our competitors charging for the same product? Are we outpricing our competitors? Well, if you're BMW, by the way, if you're BMW, who are your competitors these days? Mercedes, very good. Who's another big German car company? Audi, you got it. Those are your primary competitors. Well, check it out, though, guys. There are competitors who you don't even know are competitors. Companies like Mazda, for example, are trying to up their quality to hit on the tail edge of some companies like Audi to say, well, why not spend $10,000 less and get a comparable car? So some of that stuff is in a little bit of flux these days. What does it actually cost to produce your product? Can you sell it at a profit at a reasonable price? Distribution adds cost as well because we got to pay trucking to ship it, and promotion, actually buying ads, in-store displays, all of these things cost money. And getting the product to the right place, meaning that where can we have it at a place where people want it? There's a reason why Halloween candy goes on sale the day after Halloween, because nobody wants Halloween candy anymore. There's a reason why Christmas stuff goes on sale the day after Christmas. If everything shipped to your store 2 days after Christmas that had tinsel and lights on it, that would be the wrong time to get in position. So again, that comes down to position, and then finally promotion. How are we actually selling this stuff? Are we having people who are doing endorsements? Are we creating events? Personal selling is a big deal these days. I'm thinking of YouTube. YouTube influencers are obviously the newest, latest, greatest thing on social media. Guys, how many of you follow, at least once in a while, a YouTube influencer? Yeah, exactly. If I'd asked this question 5 years ago, nobody would have raised their hand. Next year, when I ask this question, over half the class will probably be raising their hands. It makes a difference when somebody we like and respect uses or recommends a particular product. So that is a definite form of personal selling at this point in time. And people are making very good incomes. There's a kid, I forget his name, but he's like 8 years old, and he reviews like Lego sets. And have you seen this kid? He has like something like 3 million followers. It's incredible what happens. I told you guys my wife had a viral video too, right? She made some good bank on that. My wife is not a YouTube influencer, but one big video can make some serious bank for you. And these kids are going to be millionaires by the time they hit 12 years old. Yes?
He has toys involved.
Like his own signature brand.
Yeah, like things that he reviewed, but now they have like his face on.
How crazy is this? The world, there are times when you've lived long enough, you will hit that point where you're like, wow, the world is becoming almost unrecognizable. I hope you don't hit that point early in your life. I hope you make it to at least middle age. But it does start to seem a little strange sometimes, and you start to understand when you hit middle age how sometimes older people feel so alienated because the world gets so strange sometimes. I think it's pretty interesting, though, in terms of social media. Your generation actually is having some pushback against it. You guys are actually at times shutting off your phones and unplugging from social media. And I think it's a positive trend to see because the generation just before you guys were the first to really encounter it en masse. But I digress. So guys, in terms of people having emotional attachments, I'm not saying this is a positive thing. Do you guys remember we talked about not Chick-fil-A, but Popeyes earlier this semester? What was in the news about Popeyes earlier this semester that we talked about in this class? Yes? Yeah, that maybe is a little too much emotion. You know, that's good that people are into that sandwich. But the very fact that somebody saw it as reasonable to stab somebody to death for cutting them off in line for a chicken sandwich says maybe we have gone too far. But we do want to pull upon the heartstrings of our consumers. Has anybody, who in this area is from the Pittsburgh region? Have any of you seen the ads? It's an old ad for Eaton Park, the Christmas tree ad at Christmas time. Do you know the one I'm talking about? With the star? I'll show it at the end of class. We want to talk about pulling on heartstrings. We want to make sure our customers are feeling enthusiastic about our product, and if we can get them emotionally connected, that's even better. Guys, instead of reading this slide to you, I want to ask you a question. Will somebody tell me a website that they regularly shop on and why they like it? What's some place you regularly buy stuff online and why do you like it? Yes?
Honestly, I like compromising because I just have like the Amazon app on my phone. Like sometimes I don't know, it's just so much easier on Amazon. I won't get exactly what I want, but I'll get it on Amazon because it's easier. So I don't know how to you can get really what you want specifically on like a website. If you wanted like Lululemon or something, you could go on their website and get it. But sometimes I'll just go on Amazon. It's easier just to get like shorts or something like that.
So you have occasionally settled because of convenience.
Yeah.
Because it was easy to use.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Great answer. Anybody else have a website they regularly shop on and why? I know you guys shop online. Kelly, what's some place you shop?
Usually Amazon, but sometimes like Shein.
And now, if you're not shopping on Amazon, is it because there's something you cannot find on Amazon?
Yeah, or like, I don't know, I feel like clothing is really that easy to get on Amazon. It's like not like a really popular brand.
And it's also often difficult to find stuff in any kind of size range on Amazon because it's so hard hit. So we sometimes go because of selection. If we are going on a website to shop, though, I think Amazon creates a pretty good template for us. It's not a great looking website. It's got a white background. It's got a search bar. It's very easy. The information is updated every time we get on. It's easy to read on a mobile device. And they don't have what we refer to as dead links. And that means I can't tell you, maybe once in the last year, have I hit on a page on Amazon where I hit a link and nothing came up. Actually, has that ever happened to anybody in here where you hit a link and it says, oops, that page is not available? A golden retriever will come up. They have a dog that will show up. It's a really cute dog. They'll say, the page you're looking for isn't found. That's Amazon's way of saying we have a broken link. I've seen it maybe twice in my life. And so they are a very well-designed and good running site. Well, that gets us into the next part of things here, guys. Before we get into marketing research, though, because we have 10 minutes together here yet, we're going to pause for one more question or comment from anywhere in the room. Question or comment? Make a statement about whatever you like. Who has something to say or something to ask? It can be about anything, guys. Sir?
What day is our final?
It is Monday at 8 a.m. Right in this room, and it will not take you the whole 2 hours, I promise. You can hang out for 2 hours. Maybe I'll bring some donuts or something. If you want to hang out and eat some donuts, but not maybes. That's too much. Those were like 1 pound donuts. I can't afford those twice in a semester. But maybe I will bring some donuts. It's a good question. All right, guys, we're gonna go for about another 5 minutes, and then I'm going to show you the Eaton Park video because I can't believe you guys have never seen this. It's like one of the most heartwarming ads you'll ever watch. You'll love it. In terms of marketing research, guys, we want to know how to reach the populations we want to reach, and so research basically we are trying to explore: are people finding out about our products? What do people know about us? How are they finding out about our products and services? How do we reach the audiences who are likely to buy what we have to sell? If I'm trying to reach people in your generation, for example, is my best method going to be newspaper advertisements? Hell no. How am I going to have to reach out to you guys? And it's not even going to be Facebook anymore. What's it going to be, guys? Yeah, listen, Pete, if I wanted to reach your generation, how would I reach you guys in terms of advertising?
Social media.
Yeah, absolutely. What's social media, by the way? What's your number one social media platform for people under the age of 30? It is indeed Instagram. So marketing research is going to tell me how I'm going to get that information. The basic marketing research process means we're trying to determine what's our product. Well, people between the ages of 18 and 35 don't know about our product. How are we going to collect research data? There's available databases out there. We can go and mine existing data, or we can get primary data. Analyzing the data means we're going to look at what we found and determine what did we find. Well, we found that nobody between the ages of 18 and 35 knew that we had a custom sneaker option at Nike. So how do we find the best solution? Well, maybe we want to go out over social media and try to promote that a little better. So in terms of defining the question, knowing what you want to know is the first step. What is the situation? What do people know about us right now? Are they shopping for other products or services because they don't know about us? How can we find that information? And by the way, there's two kinds of research, guys. Write this down. There's primary and secondary data. Primary data means if I sat down with Pete and interviewed him, that's primary data. He's telling me what he wants in a new shoe. Secondary data means I'm buying it from databases. That means I'm pulling it in from other places. I'm reading published research. If I publish a survey on the internet and people fill it out, is it primary or secondary data? It is primary data. I can also use the internet to go out and read articles. So the internet, write this down. Write this down, guys. The internet is a source of primary and secondary data. That question shows up on the final 100% of the time. And so secondary data, some of the limitations of that, you don't get to customize your questions. You don't get to specifically ask questions you may want to ask. So primary data, again, is what we gather directly. It can be over telephone, it can be online surveys, it can even be focus groups where we pull people in and ask them questions collectively. You see that all the time on things like Chevy commercials. And in terms of primary data, sometimes we even incentivize that. Sometimes we give people gift cards to give us information. Finally, we take that information, bless you, and we analyze it. What's the best way we can use this information? Find out that nobody in the 18 to 35-year-old age bracket knows about our custom Nike sneaker option because we're advertising on Facebook, and nobody under the age of 35 is regularly using Facebook anymore. We got to find the new social media outlet for that. All right, guys, we're gonna take a pause, and I'm going to show you the most heartwarming